With the 2024-25 League 2 season set to come to a conclusion this Saturday, in today's video we're going to go through all 24 clubs and I'll be giving you guys my player of the season from each club in my opinion. If you do go on to enjoy, don't forget to drop a like on there for me and subscribe to the channel as well if you are new. Can we try and hit 220 likes on today's video? That would be massively appreciated, and don't forget to get your thoughts in down in the comment section down below. Do you agree or disagree with the player that I have suggested? And if you do disagree, let me know who you think did deserve it. If we hit the 220 likes, I'll do this exact same video for League 1 clubs as well. Starting out firstly then with Morecambe FC. Very hard to pick because obviously they have been relegated. They're going down with a bit of a whimper as well. They gave it their best fighting shot. I'm going to go with Jan Songo, a man who always gives it his all. Does sometimes lack the technical ability, but you can never deny his passion. Always gives it 110%. Will put his body on the line. Will probably give a hairline or a fingernail to try and keep a clean sheet. There's not really many to pick from at Morecambe. He's a man that I have so much respect for his time at Bradford City. Always loved his commitment, and from whenever I've watched Morecambe, he's certainly tried to get them going at times. And like I say, it's been a poor season for them. There wasn't really many options, so I might as well give it to a man that I like. At Doncaster Rovers, I couldn't have picked any other man other than Luke Molyneux, arguably the League 2 player of the season. Some would say that he was robbed of that award, obviously with the awards being on Monday, I think that it was, or potentially Sunday, can't quite remember off the top of my head, but he's played a lot of football for Greg McCann's side this season. 16 goals and 12 assists, 28 goal contributions in 3,678 minutes. Absolutely incredible. By far and away Doncaster's best player, and if they can keep hold of him going into next season, which I think they will do, I think Doncaster will certainly fly up that table in League 1. They're probably going to go on and win the title, and a large part of that is down to Luke Molyneux, top player. Over at Carlisle United, I'm going to go with Gabriel Breeze. It's not been a great season for Carlisle. A lot of players on big money who have massively underperformed, and who would have thought that the academy graduate in Gabe Breeze would be the best player to come out of this season. Obviously, he wasn't really playing much at the start of the season as well. Harry Lewis had the gig, and he certainly turned out to be an absolute car crash of a signing. But when he's played, I think for the large part has been a very good goalkeeper. His stats obviously don't look amazing, but he does have a 74% save percentage, which is amongst one of the best in the entire division. You'd expect him to have made a lot of saves because of how bad Carlisle's defence has been this season, but when he's been relied upon, I know he should have done better with Cheltenham's second goal on Saturday, but for the large part, he's definitely been Carlisle's player of the year. For Port Vale, I'm going to go with Ryan Crosdale. I think he's been massively consistent in that midfield. Port Vale knew what they were getting when they brought him in from Stockport County. 4 goals and 5 assists for a holding midfielder. He's absolutely brilliant in terms of a return, but it's just that consistency, ability to win the ball back. Some people say Laurent Talai, I'll come back with you. Excellent in the second half of the season. Didn't really do much though until the turn of the year, and I know he was playing out of position, and don't get me wrong, he's a player that I do rate very highly, Laurent Talai. There'll be a video coming out on Thursday ranking my top 10 at League 2 strikers, but Ryan Crosdale for me, I'm going to go with him as my Port Vale player of the year. Tranmere Rovers was a pretty tough one, but I'm going to go with Amari Patrick. There was a lot of players who massively underperformed under Nigel Adkins, and if it wasn't for Amari Patrick's 10 goals and 4 assists so far this season, I do think Tranmere would have definitely gone down, or they'd certainly be in a lot worse of a position. 14 goal contributions in 39 starts for a man who's largely played as a wing back. I do think he's a big credit to him. He scored some absolute worldies as well at times this season. You look at his couple of goals away at Accrington, for example. But Patrick, for me, I think across the full season, he's been the best of a really bad bunch. I know they've been better under Andy Crosby, but Patrick, for me, has been the most consistent, so he's my Tranmere player of the year. Over at my team, Bradford City, Richie Smallwood has definitely been our player of the year this season. I've always been a big fan of Smallwood, but especially under Alexandra, he's definitely got the best out of him this season. Obviously, he got a 3.0 match rating for obviously getting sent off away at Swindon. Since then, we've drawn 2 and lost the other match, which is obviously not ideal. He's back this Saturday, and hopefully he's going to be back to lift that trophy with us. He's been so consistent. He doesn't really get the goal contributions that you'd be looking for from a midfielder, but he's a number 6. He breaks up the play so well, has led from the front, absolutely outstanding. His set pieces are really not as bad as what a lot of people make out. He puts them in a lot of good areas. We've just not really got anybody who wants to attack the ball. Smallwood for me though, without a doubt, Bradford's player of the year this season. Newport County's player of the year, I definitely think should go to Bobby Calmer. Obviously 9 goals and 5 assists for him so far this season in 40 starts. 14 goal contributions for a man who's playing for Newport, with all due respect, I do think is a pretty good return. Got a couple of hat-tricks in there as well. There's not been too many standouts in that Newport squad. I think the 4th bottom at this moment in time, but Bobby Camwer will probably get a move away from Newport this summer. At Walsall FC, I'm going to go with Nathan Lowe, which says a lot about Walsall in the second half of this season, as he did obviously leave the club in January, but since he's gone, it has been nothing but decline for the Saddlers. So many players who were playing very well at the start of the season have now just come all the way down here, and it can't just be down to one man. Nathan Lowe leaving the club cannot be anything to do with your defenders just suddenly conceding a lot of goals. It doesn't really make sense. He has obviously, or was obviously, excellent for the Saddlers in the first half of this season. 15 goals in 20 starts, averaged a goal every 122 minutes with a 25% goal conversion rate. Absolutely clinical finisher. He also registered 5 assists as well. 20 goal contributions in 20 starts. He was absolutely incredible in the first half of the season. Obviously went back to Stoke, hasn't actually kicked a ball in around about a month's time. Got the 1 goal, 5 starts, 9 appearances. Yeah, Stoke absolutely killed Walsall's season, didn't they, for a man who's now obviously playing regularly in the under-21s, but without a doubt Walsall's player of the year for me. The most consistent, and he only played for half the season. There was a few options at Harrogate Town, but I'm going to go with James Belshaw, for example. Ellis Taylor, I think, has had a really good season down at that left-hand side. Josh March recently has been pretty consistent. Even Anthony O'Connor in the defence, Jasper Moon. There has been some tidy little players for Harrogate, but James Belshaw, without a doubt for me, one of the best goalkeepers in the entire division. A big reason as to why Harrogate will be playing at League 2 football again next season. 70% save percentage, which I do think is pretty solid. He's played over 4,000 minutes in the league so far this season. Obviously got an assist on Saturday, 11 clean sheets. Definitely Harrogate's player of the year for me. Notts County, again, there was a few options. Matty Platt, Jacob Bedo, Alex Bass, maybe even George Abbott, but David McGoldrick for me definitely does deserve it. The levels of consistency, he has been absolutely brilliant when he's been fit and available so far this season. 28 starts, 35 appearances in total in the league, 17 goals, 3 assists, 20 goal contributions in 28 starts for a man who's 37 years of age. Absolutely incredible. He's still, at his age, 37, averaged a goal every 150 minutes. In terms of individual talent, the best player in the league for me, in my opinion. I'm not saying he's player of the year, but in terms of what he brings to this Notts County side, he is still more than good enough to be ripping it up in the Championship. You can see why he was scoring goals in the Premier League. Absolutely top player. An absolute joy to watch. Scored a worldie against my team Bradford City the other week as well, and without a doubt Notts County's player of the year for me, but there was some decent other options. Accrington Stanley for me was a toss-up between Sean Whalley and Ben Woods, but I've just in the end edged it with Sean Whalley, because I want Ben Woods to sign for Bradford City in the summer, and I don't really want anybody else to talk about him until he's obviously a Bradford City player. So Sean Whalley, definitely Accrington's best player throughout this season, but jokes aside, I do think he has been very good, very consistent, scored goals at key times for Accrington, has struggled a little bit with injuries, and that's why he has only got the 32 starts so far this season, but 9 goals and 4 assists for a relegation threatened side at 37 years of age, I do think is a very good return. So for me personally, between him or Ben Woods, but like I just mentioned, I'm going to go Whalley because we don't want to talk about Ben Woods. He's bang average. No one else wants to sign him, right? AFC Wimbledon, there was a few potential options, the likes of Matty Stevens, Owen Goodman, Jake Reeves in the midfield, but I'm going to go with Mr. Short Shorts himself. I'm finally going to give him his praise. I'm going to give him his flowers. Obviously, he's been very consistent so far this season, played just shy, literally, of 3,000 minutes so far this season in the league. 1 goal and 1 assist, kept the 12 clean sheets, 6.3 clearances per game, 62 aerial dual win percentage, absolute monster at the back, really consistent when he's been available for Wimbledon. Obviously recently their form has taken a bit of a dip, but I wouldn't really put it down to him, and I think some of the other players have been a little bit more inconsistent at times, so I'm going Joe Lewis. Wombles fans, let me know down below, would you agree with that? Before we do any further though with today's video, don't forget to drop a like on there for me and subscribe to the channel as well if you are new. Can we try and hit 220 likes, as I said at the start of today's video? That would massively appreciated, and don't forget as well to get your thoughts in down in the comment section down below. Who do you believe has been your League 2 club's player of the season? MK Dons was an extremely difficult one to pick from because they've got all the talent in the world, but they're just not a very good team. In the end, I decided to go with Alex Gilbert. Obviously, last season certainly hit higher heights with 13 goals and 10 assists. This season, his goal tally is pretty similar with 11, but just the 1 assist. It goes to show that he's still performing to his level for the large part, but the other players around him, they're not finishing the chances that that he is potentially creating. I do think he is still a top player for this level. Obviously won't play in the final game of the season, has missed the last couple through injury, but I think next season under Paul Warne, Alex Gilbert is certainly going to shine. When you've got the likes of Dan Crowley and all the other talent in that squad, surely MK Dons at least make the playoffs next season. They've got a proper manager in now. There is a lot of talent in this Salford City squad, but Kelly Namai is my pick for player of the year. Half of that Salford squad is on my Bradford City shopping list if we make it into League One for next season. But Namai, at 20 years of age, has been absolutely outstanding. 27 league starts for him so far this season, 9 goals and 4 assists. An absolute joy to watch down that left hand side. Can go on the inside and cutting on his right foot, can go on the outside and go with his left foot. He is a top player, and he is destined to at least play in the Championship throughout his career. At 20 years of age, to have played the amount of football that he has already done, big credit to him. Cal Robinson obviously getting the best out of him as well. The likes of Osama Ashley, Curtis Tilt, some very good players in that squad, even Hakeem Adulik and Cole Stockton. It is a good team at Salford City. Obviously recently it has started to click now. They've got a few more players back from injury, but I think Kelly Namai for me is the pick of the bunch, and I think he's come through their academy as well, so it's guaranteed profit. Similarly to MK Dons, Gillingham FC was pretty difficult to pick from. In the end, I've decided to go with Robbie McKenzie. When he has been fit and available this season, has been very solid in that midfield. 6 goals and 1 assist. I think it was Robbie McKenzie who scored the absolute worldie away at Walsall, but he's played nearly 3,200 minutes, and when there's been so many players who have massively underperformed this season for the Gills, so many of them let themselves down really at the end of Matt Bonner's reign, throughout the majority of John Coleman's reign. Some of them have recently stepped up under Gareth Ainsworth, but I think the man who's been the most consistent throughout the season is Robbie McKenzie. On the whole, it's been a massively underwhelming season for the Gills, and next season under Ainsworth, could they maybe make it into the playoffs? Over at Grimsby Town, I'm going to go with George McEachran. I think the midfielder has been outstanding for the large part in midfield so far this season. There's been a lot of top talent at Grimsby Town. The likes of Denver Hume at left back, he's got loads of assists, and I think made it into the League 2 team of the season. 39 starts, 2 goals and no assists, which you might think, well, how on earth are you going to win player of the year? If you watch McEachran play, he is a really good midfielder for this level. Just missed out on my top 10 list because of his lack of goal contributions, but in terms of what he does on the ball, his ability to pick a pass, absolutely outstanding for this level, and definitely deserves to win Grimsby's player of the year for me. I think he did actually win it the other night, didn't he? It hasn't been a particularly great season for Barrow AFC, but I'm going to go with Ben Jackson. You all know how highly I do rate this man. Unfortunately, still has 2 years left on his contract, but a man that I would still like Bradford City to at least have a look at in this upcoming summer transfer window. Has played pretty much every game and nearly every minute for Barrow so far this season, closing in on 3,800 minutes. Got the 1 goal and 10 assists from full-back, wing-back, absolutely outstanding. 15 big chances created, 1.4 key passes per game, kept the 11 clean sheets, 1.6 tackles per game, 3.8 balls recovered per game, and 2.8 clearances per game as well. Wins 62% of his ground duels, 57% of his aerial duels, and has a 54% successful dribble rate. Absolutely top full-back, wing-back for this level, and he's certainly destined for better things than Barrow, with all due respect, and for me he's certainly been their most consistent player this season. Over at Chesterfield FC then, I'm going to go with Armando Dobra. Certainly been one of their more consistent performers throughout this season. 36 starts, 42 total appearances, over 3,100 minutes played, where he has got 9 goals and 2 assists. There's been a lot of chopping and changing around that Chesterfield attack, so many different options. They've got a real plethora of talent at the top end of the pitch. Defensively, they're definitely going to need to improve before next season. You could go to the likes of Tom Naylor, for example. I think has been very consistent, but I'm going to go with Armando Dobra because he's just got that twinkle, hasn't he? He's just got that extra little bit of spark that no one else really has in this division, really. I think he's a top player. For Cheltenham Town, I'm going to go with Jordan Thomas. Now, I've seen a lot of Cheltenham fans saying it should be Sam Stubbs, for example, but he has made so many mistakes which have led to goals so far this season. Jordan Thomas, for me, is a player that you all know I rate very highly. I didn't have him in my top 10 at League 2 wingers list because there's a lot of talent, or has been a lot of talent throughout this season, but Jordan Thomas, absolutely exceptional player. 8 goals and 2 assists in 31 starts. I really hope he's not going to be one of these players that makes the move up to the Championship too soon. We've seen it with so many players. They'll go from League 2 to the Championship, play 13 times, 4 starts, and just never do anything, and eventually just fall back down the leagues and can never really recover from that. He needs a season or two in League 1. Look at Davis Keeler Dunn, for example. If he'd have gone straight from Mansfield to the Championship, he'd have done like what Langstaff's done and hasn't really performed, and now no one really knows what his future is going to hold. He needs to go to at least at League 1 level for at least one season. Even if he goes to the Championship and goes out on loan, but if he goes straight to the Championship, I don't see it working out there. He's a top player. I just hope he's not going to be yet another player to ruin his own career. At Colchester United, there could only really be one man, and that is the magician himself, Jack Payne, being absolutely outstanding this season with 8 goals and 10 assists from midfield in 38 starts. 18 goal contributions is an absolutely incredible return from 3,307 minutes. Top player for this level, has got that spark in that midfield that Colchester definitely need if they are to make it into the playoffs in the final game of the season. It's going to be a tough ask now after the recent couple of batterings against Salford, against Bradford, for example. But going into next season, I think whatever division Colchester are in, if they're to be successful, it'll be because of Jack Payne. He's had a brilliant season, and hopefully for his sake, he can end on 20 plus goal contributions. Because I think, again, another player who did make it into the League 2 team of the season. Fleetwood Town, again, a little bit of a tricky one because they've been very inconsistent. They've had players do well in patches, but they're not so well in others. But I think their best player probably is Brendan Weirdo. He has been the most consistent throughout the season. Obviously, hasn't played since the 5th of April, and I think that will be his final appearance for this season. And maybe for the football club, I do think he will get a move this summer. But defensively, clearly very solid for this level. 2 goals for him this season, 10 clean sheets. Just look at his defensive stats: 1.3 interceptions per game, 1.9 tackles, 3.8 balls recovered, and 3.6 clearances per game as well. Wins 67% of his ground duels, 58% of his aerial duels, and I'm certainly very glad that he is obviously going to be unavailable for Saturday. And for me personally, I do think he has been Fleetwood's most consistent player, so I'm going to give him player of the season. But there is some good players: Ryan Graydon, Ronan Coughlin, Phoenix Patterson. There is some good talent in there. It's about whether they can unlock it going into next season. At Bromley FC, I'm going to go with Michael Cheek, obviously out of contract with the club in this upcoming summer, and won the League 2 Player of the Season award. 23 goals and 7 assists, 30 goal contributions for him so far this season in 43 starts. Doncaster fans, can you now see why Michael Cheek got League 2 Player of the Year? He has 2 more goal contributions. I know he's a striker, Molyneux is a winger, but I still think you've got to give a lot of credit to Michael Cheek, playing with players around him that are nowhere near the standard of Doncaster's players as well. Average a goal every 162 minutes, 25% goal conversion rate, the same as Nathan Law. He's been absolutely outstanding this season, thoroughly deserves his League 2 Player of the Year award, and definitely Bromley's Player of the Year because he's probably been the best player in League 2. Swindon Town, I'm going to go with Harry Smith. Obviously this season has got 15 goals and 3 assists. He'll be looking to obviously finish on 20 plus goal contributions come the end of the season. 36 starts, 3,134 minutes played, average a goal every 209 minutes with a 16% goal conversion rate. Obviously Swindon were pretty garbage for the first couple of months up until around December, January sort of time. I think they've only lost once at home since November, and that was to Bromley. I definitely was never going to pick any of their defenders because they've been awful defensively this season, but Harry Smith scored the goals, was one of their better performers at the start of the season as well, so definitely deserves Player of the Year for me. It's just a shame he's a bit of a bellend because he's a great player, but his personality and character, it's not for me. That I wouldn't want that in my dressing room. Crewe Alexandra once again started the season very well, and in the second half of the season have just massively tailed off, and now it is going to be yet another season in League 2 for them. I'm going to go with Mickey Dimitriou as their Player of the Year. It's clearly very clear to see when he does and doesn't play, the contrast in their defence and how poor that it is that Crewe are defensively without him in their side. 13 clean sheets in 35 starts, brilliant defensively, 9.8 clearances per game, 3 balls recovered, 1.2 tackles, 1.4 interceptions per game as well. Wins 64% of his ground duels and 66% of his aerial duels. Decent on the ball as well, and for me personally, certainly one of Crewe's best players, and I think he's probably been their most consistent when he's been fit and available, because there's been so many players who've massively underperformed and maybe let League Bell down at times as well. So Dimitriou for me, I'm going to go with him to be my Crewe Player of the Year. And there we have it then. There is every League 2 club's Player of the Year, Player of the Season from the 2024-25 campaign. If you have enjoyed watching today's video, don't forget to drop a like on there for me and subscribe to the channel as well if you are new. 220 likes, as I mentioned at the start of today's video, will be massively appreciated. Don't forget to get your thoughts in down in the comment section down below. Do you agree or disagree with the player that I have suggested? And don't forget, if we hit 220 likes, I will do the same video for League 1 clubs as well. Thank you for watching. Have a great rest of your day. I'll see you very soon for another one.